But before we talk about that, what I like to do is share with our audience a clip that I was able to do, our third community segment for today, where we visit with Ballet Hawaii, a community arts organization, performing arts organization that really had to pivot, adapt, and evolve for the pandemic. So let's go visit with them.
Tonight's program is excerpts from Le Corsaire, followed by original choreography. Sit tight, stay safe, keep separated, enjoy the show.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you so much for having me here at Ballet Hawaii's beautiful studios. Can you explain to me a little bit of Ballet Hawaii and what you had to do as Honolulu dealt with COVID-19?
Yes, and thank you for inviting us. When we had to shut down, it was certainly devastating for all of us. And all of the teachers, all of us were furloughed. But when I had the conference call with all of the teachers, what they said is that they would do whatever needed to be done to make certain that Ballet Hawaii would be there to return to. In 1976, the former mayor, Frank Fosse, thought that no city could be complete without culture and the arts. And of course, dance is culture and the arts, right? And so they started that with the CETA funds, which was a training program with a professional company. And when they needed a board of directors to help support the company for costumes, for point shoes, for all those things that were needed, then the Friends of the Ballet was formed. And that board of directors have persevered throughout 46 years almost.
So before the pandemic,
yes,
Ballet Hawaii had a wonderful program, campuses both here in Honolulu, but also in West.
And this, yes, our studios are in town and also at Ballet Hawaii West, Waikele, Waipahu. And so we had 2 studios that needed to be shut down with teachers and all of those students without any classes to come to.
And every year, Ballet Hawaii puts on a spring performance for its students, as well as a performance ensemble, a nutcracker. So all of these things, I mean, what was that year like for you?
It was devastating, but the ingenuity and creative teachers that went forth and put programs on Zoom. They had the Princess Camp, they had the performing group, and they'll talk to you a little bit more about, you know, dancing in the box. So they created all these incredible programs because necessity is the mother of invention, and they truly invented so many wonderful things to keep the students engaged and working with a vision and a purpose and a goal.
I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. I think wearing our masks and social distancing and doing all of those
Absolutely.
things will be able to open up the arts sector.
Yes, 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 for all of us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Aloha. So I'm here today with the director of Ballet Hawaii School and the director of the Performing Ensemble. So welcome, Nikki. If I can introduce you and then Christine. If you can share with me a little bit about how Ballet Hawaii pivoted during the pandemic. We'll start with you, Mickey.
Okay, well, actually, we pivoted pretty quickly. Christine and I were just talking about this, and we closed the school down, and about a week later, we were actually able to get classes up and running on Zoom, which has been a most eye-opening experience, I think, to all of us.
So that was adjustment for teachers, and I know that you folks really worked hard to eventually be able to do some performances. Can you talk about some of the performance pieces that you put together?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest One of the hardest things for us as dancers is to not be able to perform. What we do in the studio is great. We love it. But the goal is always to perform for an audience. We did was a series of, we called them Dancing Inside the Box. It was all created on Zoom. It was all one-on-one with some of our teenagers, and they were each assigned one teacher to be a mentor. And I think it was great to see them start to explore their own artistic voices, because that's something that oftentimes kids don't get a chance to do until they're older in the studio anyway, because we spend so much time telling them what to do.
So that was probably in May and June, but I know that later in the year, later in the pandemic, you folks did some amazing things at the Blue Water Studio.
We decided, again, Nutcracker is a very special time for our kids. Probably more so for the kids than for the adults. It's, it's a little bit magical for everyone, but it's really magical when you're young and you're just doing, this year I get to be this, and that year I get to be that, and it's new for you every year, which is something we maybe lose a little as we get older. And we had to rework a couple of things. It was a challenge for us and for them, because we did the vast majority of the rehearsals on Zoom. And the stage is beautiful. I mean, it wasn't perfect, it wasn't Blaisdell, but with the water behind you, it was just beautiful.
We're getting closer and closer to more openings, and now you folks have a rooftop performance. Mickey, can you talk a little bit about the rooftop performance?
Yeah, well, it's kind of evolved into our spring showcase almost. Again, it's more for the older levels, and it was basically based off of the performing ensemble puts together all of these works so that they can travel around the island and perform anything at the drop of a pin, really. And we usually do an in-studio showcase of everything that we've created, so at one time. And so, of course, instead of being in studio, it's on the roof, which is an amazing idea. And again, I think, as I look back at this year, I really feel like we were actually able to provide them with some awesome opportunities.
If there was anything that you wanted to tell our audience about what to look forward to, or maybe what you learned from this pandemic, is there anything that you'd like to share? Because I know, to me, the performing arts community is a critical part of our community, but sometimes in the moment of the pandemic, I think a lot of us forgot about the performing arts, but you guys have persisted. So anything you want to say or share?
I think it's an important lesson in remaining open-minded and remaining flexible, literally and figuratively.
It sounds awful, but in a sense, we're used to having been forgotten here and there. The world is busy, and performing arts are not always at the top, but because of that, we've spent our whole lives finding ways to make sure that we stay relevant and make sure that we can adapt to this situation or that situation. And I think having done that for so long really served us well in this new state of the world.
Thank you so much, and thank you for everything you've done for our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kudos to all of the performing arts organizations like Ballet Hawaii that had to pivot, adapt, evolve during the pandemic. Like all these other sectors of society, the creative arts community was really devastated by the pandemic.